Good afternoon and welcome to Stress Busters. I am Dr. Keisha Moore of Life and Focus Coaching, and I help women to create more time and energy so that you can grow your income and increase your impact on the world. I'm also the host of a free Facebook community for female business owners and for women professionals, and the title of the community is Purpose, Passion, and Power. And this is a Facebook community created for women who want to create a life and a career that you love. So if that's you, I encourage you to join with us in our community. I've included a link in the description so you can just click on that link and be taken to the community. I would love to see you there and to have you meet and interact with the other fabulous women that are there. So I'm so glad that you're here. Please do drop me a note, say hi, leave a comment in the comment box as we're going through. If you have any questions, feel free to type those in, and I promise I will respond to all of the questions. Even if it's on a replay, I'll come back and respond to that question. So today we have such an exciting topic. We're going to be talking about money and happiness. And so I'm sure you're familiar with the old saying, money can't buy happiness. Well, that's only partially true. What we're going to be talking about today and for the next 5 weeks of this series is how you can use your money in order to increase your happiness. And for those of you who are business owners and who are managers, I'm going to show you how you can use your money to increase the success of your business by making your clients and employees happy. So the goal is for all of us, whether we are employees or business owners or clients, to be able to increase our happiness. And I'm going to be going through the scientific literature and teaching you what are the 5 top things to improve your happiness using money. So we all get money. It kind of comes and goes through our hands. But I want you to use your money wisely so that the money that comes into your hands has a long-standing impact on your life and on the life of others. And so that's what we'll be going through. So today we're going to start at number 5. And next week we're going to do 4 and all in our countdown down to 1. So you don't want to miss any of the sessions that we're going to be doing in this series all around money and happiness. I also want to let you know about a couple of other resources that I have for you to help you grow your income and increase your happiness and your success, particularly for women who are business owners. So one is, I am so honored that our group, our Facebook group, Purpose, Passion, and Power, is going to have an exclusive training by Lynette Kofani Cox, the money coach. Now, you've probably seen her on Oprah or on Dr. Phil or on Good Morning America, CNBC, on a host of shows. But now you're going to see her live in our Facebook group doing a private training that's called Money Rules. And it's how you can own your power and build your wealth as female entrepreneurs. So I know you don't want to miss that. So if you click on the link, join the Facebook group, you'll be able to be present for the live training and ask any questions and get your questions answered. I also have prepared for you a free guide called Focus on Success. And this is your roadmap. So those of you who are business owners or thinking about becoming a business owner, Focus on Success is your roadmap to building a successful business quickly and efficiently without stressing yourself out. So you want to make sure when you join the Facebook community that you also go to the description. You'll see a link for Focus on Success. It's your free roadmap. You want to make sure that you download that and start working on it today. So, as I've said, today we're going to focus on how we can grow our own happiness and strengthen our business by investing in others. So that's our top 5 that we're focusing on today in terms of using our money to increase our happiness. Now, Before I get into the teaching on this, I wanted to start by asking you a question. Can you think of a time when you have spent about $20 on someone else, right? So if you have to close your eyes, think about a time when you've spent $20 on someone else. What was it? What was the situation? What did you do with the money? And most importantly, how did you feel about that action, that activity? So for me, just this past week, I spent $20. I actually donated $25 to Mercy Corps, which is an international community development organization, and they invest in very poor rural communities in Africa, in South America, and also they're doing some things in Asia. And this is just one of my favorite organizations. I used to give money to them regularly, and then I just kind of got caught up in some other things, and I hadn't donated money for a while. And so I saw some material, and I thought, I want to reignite this relationship. I respect the work that they do. I know that it makes a difference in people's lives. And so I just, went online and gave a donation. And that felt so good. I felt great. I was talking about it the whole day. I'm still talking about it. And it just made me feel like so happy because I know what's going to happen with my money, and I know the change that it's going to make in people's lives. And it was just a kind of boost in my happiness that I've experienced ongoing since I made that donation. And it was a very small donation, but it actually, had a significant impact in how I was feeling that day and days later. And so that's the first principle that I wanted to share with you, is that I know it from personal experience, but I also know it from research, that using our money to invest in others increases our own happiness. And that's true regardless of the amount of money that we give. You don't have to give a whole lot of money. You don't have to be Warren Buffett and give away 99% of your income. You don't have to be Bill and Melinda Gates and give away millions of dollars. You can give away $20 and still have a significant boost in your happiness from you giving this money to someone else, investing in someone else. And I know that sometimes you might say, well, that's easy for you to say, you have extra money and I'm just living paycheck to paycheck and I don't have enough and so I can't give. And, you're only able to do that because you already have a comfortable lifestyle. But that's not true. We know from the research that regardless of how much income you have, and regardless of whether you live in a wealthy country or a poor country, spending a portion of your income investing in others boosts your happiness. So there was this Gallup World Poll. And so they did this poll in 2006 and 2008. And they surveyed 136 countries. And one of the key things that they saw is for people who reported, yes, I have donated money to a charity sometime in the past month, those people experienced a boost in their happiness. So they were happier than people who didn't donate in the past month. And get this, that happiness boost, that happiness effect was as large as what people experience when their income doubles, when their household income doubles. So it's a significant increase in our happiness that we get from investing in others, and we get it even when we invest a very small portion of our money. So I wanted to share with you this other study where they were looking at wealthy countries and poor countries and looking at the habits of people who donate, who give resources to other people. And so they took one wealthy country, Canada, which is in the top 15% of wealthiest countries in the world, and then they compared that with Uganda, which is in the bottom 15% of wealthiest countries in the world. And they asked the participants the same question that I asked you at the beginning. So tell me about a time when you spent $20 on someone else. And so in Canada, people talked about buying a scarf for their mom, something. That's what they were doing with their $20. In Uganda, they talked about having a friend's son with leukemia and having these medical bills, and they paying for the medical bills and the transport to the hospital for their friend's son. So very different kinds of activities, but all done with the same essential amount of money. And in both countries, regardless of the country and regardless of the person's income, just the act of thinking about and talking about this act of generosity actually boosted the person's happiness. So we saw a quick, invisible impact on their happiness by remembering a time when they were generous with someone else. And that was true regardless of the context in terms of the country. And it was also true regardless of the individual person's income level. So in this World Gallup poll, what they saw is 120 out of the 136 countries that were surveyed reported a boost in happiness as a result of giving to others. So it is a overwhelmingly pervasive effect that happens regardless of your nationality, regardless of your income, regardless of the region of the planet in which you live. This is a universal truth that investing in others, even at very small amounts, boosts your own happiness. And it's true not just for adults, but it's true for children as well. So one study that I found totally fascinating, it was done with toddlers, 2-year-olds, and they wanted to look at what impact giving had on toddlers. Now, I've had 2 toddlers. I know sharing can be a challenging lesson for them to learn. We think of them as wanting everything that they want, like immediately, mind. But the results of this study is pretty interesting because it actually contradicts a lot of our assumptions about toddlers, but about human nature in general. So in this study, they had these 2-year-old toddlers and they used cute little puppets, monkey puppet and a giraffe puppet, and they fed the puppets with little goldfish. And so, the goldfish crackers. So the puppets pretend to eat the goldfish crackers and they're so happy, like, And then the researchers give the kids a goldfish cracker to feed the puppets. And so the kids do it and the puppets are so happy. And then the researchers give the kids their own private stash of goldfish cookies. So they give them a bag of goldfish cookies. And the kids are like, "Wait, this is so great." Kids love goldfish cookies. So the goldfish crackers. So then the researchers ask the kids if they would like to share, to give some of their goldfish crackers to the puppets. So would you like to feed the puppets your goldfish crackers? We know that they enjoy them. You have some. Would you like to give it? And most of the kids do. And the interesting thing is that the kids, when they are giving the goldfish crackers to the puppets, they're actually happier than when they got the goldfish crackers for themselves. So you might say, how did the researchers measure the happiness of toddlers? Because they can't do a survey with a Likert scale. They actually took videos of their faces and they coded their faces in terms of levels of excitement and gleam in the eyes and all that kind of stuff. So, when you get something for yourself, your private stash goldfish crackers, the kids were happy, but they were even happier when they were actually able to give one of their own goldfish crackers to the puppet. So I think it says something really important about human nature, about who we are as people. We want to give. We want to see our lives as having meaning, us as having the ability to do something valuable for someone else, to make them happy. And when we do that, we receive a gift of joy that is its own reward. So the saying of it truly is better to give than to receive is not just a good moralistic teaching. it's actually an accurate reflection of reality. That when we give, we get this new burst of joy and happiness that we didn't have before we give, and we don't get if we're not giving. Now, that's only true under certain conditions. So that's the second point that I want to cover in our discussion today. That giving is great and boosts your happiness only when it meets particular conditions. So there are 3 conditions in which giving to others, investing in others, will increase your own happiness. So the first condition is that it needs to be a choice. It needs to be something that you do voluntarily. The second condition is that giving needs to be something that connects you with another person. And then, the third condition is in your giving, you should see the impact of your actions on someone else. So it's a choice, there's a connection, and you get to see the impact. So let's think about why those 3 things are really important conditions under which we give. So I don't want you to kind of walk away and, give money and then feel like I don't feel any better. What's going on? Coach Keisha is lying to me. It's not true. So let me explain to you why these conditions are important. So the first is about giving needs to be a choice. And so there was this study of college students. They asked them to keep a diary for 2 weeks. And in that diary, they'd report how they were feeling and what they were doing throughout the day. And what we see is that on the days when the college students did something to help someone else, they were happier, provided that what they did was totally voluntary. It was their own choice. But on the days when they did something to help someone else because they had to, because someone told them to do it, or because they would feel like that person would be mad if they didn't do it, on those days, even though they were giving, they actually felt worse than on the days where they were giving out of choice, and worse than just on their regular day. And so giving when it's not voluntary actually takes away your happiness. It takes away that joy. It lowers your happiness. And in a follow-up study, they had a graduate student ask people for help under 2 different conditions. And so one group of the people she approached, she asked for help. And at the end, she said, it's totally your choice. And in the other condition, she asked people for help. And at the end, she said, I really think you should do this. So it was the same request, but 2 different endings. And in both situations, most people helped. So 97% of the people fulfilled this request, which again says something about human nature and our willingness and desire to help people. But the interesting thing is that the people who responded under the condition where she said, it's your choice, those people who helped felt way more happy than the people who helped when she said, I really think you should do it. So it matters what our motivation is to give. And even when we give, if we're giving because we feel like we have to, then it feels more like a burden than a joy. And I have recently had this experience because I told you about how excited I was to give this weekend to this donation. Well, I also this weekend needed to go shopping to buy a gift for my niece's baby shower. Now, I love my niece. I'm totally excited she's having a baby. But I did not honestly get as much joy from shopping for her gift as I did from giving, this money to a charity. And I was thinking about why that was, and it was because it felt like an obligation. It felt like if I show up at this party without a gift, then, she's going to be mad and people are going to talk about me and it's going to end so stressful and I have to find something and I don't have a lot of time. And it's like, this is not fun. I'm not happy. And I thought about, the holidays are coming up. It is this time where we talk about giving, but we're also setting it up where it takes the joy out of giving. That's why on Black Fridays, people are having fights and people are mean to each other and people are stressed out. And it's like, why is that when we're talking about joy and giving and sharing? And it's because we don't give ourselves the opportunity to really give the gift from our hearts. That there's this kind of sense of, well, if I don't do this, then that person is going to be angry or I'm obligated to do it. And that takes all the joy out of it. So when I was preparing for our conversation today, I was thinking, okay, so what can I do in this upcoming holiday season to make sure that all of my giving is grounded in joy, where the people who are receiving the gifts get a chance to have a boost of happiness, and I get a boost of happiness from the product of giving. So recognizing how important choice is to this is something that I'm kind of keeping in mind. The second condition that's really important in terms of determining whether or not giving is going to increase your happiness is about connection. Giving in a way that connects you to another person, whether that's a person that you know or a person that you don't know. If you give in a way that connects you to that person, you feel happier. And so there's this other study with a Starbucks gift card. They randomly gave it out to people and they put them in 4 different conditions. So they gave them 4 different instructions with the Starbucks card. So in the first group, they said, here's a $10 Starbucks card, take somebody else out for coffee. In the second group, they said, here's a $10 Starbucks card, give it to someone else, but don't go with them. And in the third group, they said, here's your $10 Starbucks card, spend it all on yourself. And in the fourth group, here's your Starbucks card, take a friend out for coffee. So in the conditions where people actually use the gift to share an experience with someone else, in the first and the last condition, those were the ones where people felt happiest. Because in giving the gift, they were actually connecting with another person, whether it's a person that they were already really close to or a person that they had just met. That the idea of sharing this experience increased their happiness. And so, I encourage you to think about, when you're thinking about giving gifts to people, how can you give something in a way that makes you feel more connected to that person? And that's going to increase your own happiness as a result of your giving. And the third condition that increases happiness is being able to give in a way that we can see the impact of what we're giving. So we want to feel like we are making a difference in the world, that our lives matter, that we're building a legacy, we're having a positive impact on the world. And if we give in a way that we get to directly see at least a part of that impact, that does so much for our self-esteem and feeling like we're valuable people, we're making important contributions and improving other people's lives. And it boosts our happiness. So, thank you cards are not overrated. I used to think it was just a formality. It's like, oh, I don't really feel like writing. Why do you have to write a thank you card? And, if you got married, you have like hundreds of thank you cards you have to write. But the thing is that it actually creates this cycle of happiness. So you got the gift, wonderful. When you say thank you, then the other person and you talk about how you're using the gift, then they get to see the impact that their gift has made for you, and that increases their happiness. So we know that happiness and giving has this kind of mutually reinforcing cycle. So the happier you are, the more generous you're going to be. And the more generous you are, the more happy you're going to be. And so there was this study where they told people to reflect on a time when they had spent $20, some people on themselves, some people spending the money on someone else. And so the people who thought about the time that they were spending the money on themselves responded very differently than the people who thought about it, giving it to somebody else. So the people who thought about spending $20 on someone else were happier than the other group of people. But then they gave them an envelope with money in it, $20. And it was like, here you are, thank you, you can do whatever you want to do with the money. Well, not only were the people who thought about spending $20 on someone else, not only were they happier, but they were also much more likely to use this new money in that same way, to give to someone else again, because they recognize the joy that they got from that act of giving. And so giving and happiness reinforces each other, and it makes us happier to give, and we remember how great we felt, and then we want to do it again. And it's this kind of ever spreading cycle of love and happiness. And who doesn't want that? So if we follow the conditions of proper giving, where it's voluntary, it connects us to other people, and we're able to see the impact on the world as a result of our actions. Under those conditions, giving to others, investing in others, produces a significant and enduring increase in our happiness. And so the third thing and the final point that I want to make today is how giving to others actually increases not just our happiness, but our wealth and our success in our own careers and businesses. So let me first think about it on the individual level. So when we are giving to other people, it actually increases our feelings of wealth and abundance. We kind of had this sense of, well, I am a generous person. I'm giving money away. So it must mean that I'm wealthy, that I have money in abundance. And it's a way in which we kind of get our mindset away from the scarcity model of I don't have enough, and towards an abundance model of course I have enough. I have more than enough for myself, and I have enough to share with others. And so in this study, they gave people an envelope with $1, and they gave them, some options. So some group of people, they said, here's the dollar, keep it. Thank you very much for your participation. Another group of people, they said, here's $1. What we'd like for you to do is to go to this website, Donors Choose, and to decide where you wanted to donate that dollar to, which project you wanted. And in the third group, they gave them the envelope with $1 in it, but then they asked them to give it back. So those are the three conditions. Now, who do you think was happiest? I'm sure you're getting the point by now. So the people in the second condition who were able to donate that dollar to others were happier than all the other people in the research. They were happier than the people who gave it back, and they were happier than the people who kept it for themselves. And so again, this idea of being able to give away money, even if it's not necessarily a lot of money, produces a significant impact in our lives. And so we're feeling wealthy, we're feeling generous, we're feeling in this vision of ourselves as abundant, generous people. But it also has tangible effects in how we run our businesses, our companies, how we manage our teams, and how much income we're able to produce. So I've spent the past 15, 20 minutes talking with you about how we can use money to make us happy. Now, think about if you use the money that your company generates and you created experiences that would make your employees and your customers happy. Think about how they would feel about themselves, and how they would feel about you and your company, right? So there's some really exciting preliminary research on this part. One that I wanted to talk about is this research that's showing that when we actually encourage people to spend money on others, invest in others, it helps the team to function better and to be more productive. So in this one study, they were looking at a dodgeball league, intramural dodgeball, and they randomly selected teams in the league. And to some teams, they gave all the members $20 and said, here's $20, spend it on yourself. And to another team or another group of teams, they gave them $20 and asked them to spend it on someone else on their team. So spend it on the team. And there was a significant difference in the impact of those teams in their performance after they got their little bonuses. So the teams that got the $20 to spend on themselves, they actually did a little bit worse in the second half of the season than they had before. So they went from winning 50% of their games, their matches, to winning 43%. And that was the team who was focused on themselves. But the teams that were focused on each other, they went from winning 50% of their games to winning 80% of their games. And that makes sense because they're becoming a better team. They're happier, they're giving to each other, the people who reap the benefits are feeling better, and they're all kind of gelling and connecting as a team. And so that helps in terms of teamwork and in terms of productivity, and it helps in terms of generating income for companies. So there are a number of companies like Pepsi, like Google, that actually give employees opportunities to donate bonuses, to donate money to other employees. And they do this because they know it builds an attachment that the employees have to the company, to the mission, and to each other. And so in this one company, it was a pharmaceutical sales company in Belgium. And they did an experiment where they gave 15 euros in terms of a bonus to their teams. And so to half of the teams, they gave them the bonus and told them it was just for themselves, to spend on themselves. And the other half of the team, they gave them the bonus and asked them to spend it on the other people in the team. And just like the dodgeball teams, we see a significant difference in the outcomes from people whose bonuses are spent on self versus people whose bonuses are invested in others. People whose bonuses are invested in others are skyrocketing in terms of their productivity. So the group whose bonuses are invested in their self, they didn't show any increase in sales. Their sales was flat. But for the group whose bonuses was told to invest in other people on the team, there was a significant increase in their sales on those teams. And so it had the net gain for the company. So the company invested 15 euros in each person on the team. But on those teams where people were spending those euros on each other, the company net in profit was 78 euros. So they spent 15 euros per person and they got back 78 euros. And that's because of the increase in productivity that came from having their employees actually share and be invested in others. So what we know from research on burnout is, again, burnout is not about employees who are working too hard. Burnout is about employees for whom work has lost all meaning. And so if you answer the statement, I feel like my work that I do personally has a positive impact on the lives of others. For people who can strongly agree, or the degree to which you can agree with that statement shows the degree to which you will be vulnerable to burnout. So people who can strongly agree with that statement, that my work is having a positive impact on others, are not likely to be burnt out. And so you want, as a business owner and as a manager, you want employees that are giving their all to the company. And the way that you get that is by focusing on investing in them. You invest in them and they will reward you with high levels of productivity, and they will also pass that investment on to the clients and the customers. So the way our employees treat our customers and our clients is very much a product of the way that we treat them. And so if we want them to be focused on making our clients happy and serving our customers with the highest level of joy and engagement, then we need to give them that same benefit. So I wanted to end with asking you, now that you understand the relationship between money and happiness, what would you like to do to give yourself the gift of happiness? So how could you take this information and use it today to spend your money in a way that will boost your happiness. And for those of you who are business owners, or for those of you who are managers, I invite you to think about applying this principle to your own business. So what is it that you could do to allow your employees and to allow your customers to increase their happiness by giving? There's so many exciting models out there, and I'm actually in the process of researching and collecting some stories. So if you know of a model of a company that's using opportunities to donate as a way of increasing the happiness and the productivity of the company, please do type that in the comments and share it. I want to share those models with other people to help generate these ideas. But basically, there is room for all of us to be happy. It does not have to be something that only those people over there or up there experience. And our happiness is determined mostly by ourselves, by how we think and how we behave in the world. And so all of this series is going to be dedicated to how can we use the resources that are given to us, the ones at our disposal, to boost our happiness and to boost the happiness of those people who are around us. So I want to thank you for joining me in this conversation. I want to thank you for taking the time to kind of think with me and share with me. And I encourage you to actually implement using some of this knowledge in your own life today and in your company today. I want to remind you to make sure that you click on the link so that you can join our Facebook group. You don't want to miss the free live training that the Money Coach is doing for us. So if you are a female entrepreneur, I want you to be there so that you can hear what the Money Coach has to say about money rules and how you can use these money rules to own your power and to build your wealth. I also want to encourage you, once you join the group, to download and get your roadmap to growing a successful business. And that's the Focus on Success Guide. It's a free resource that I have prepared for you to help you to grow your business without all the stress and anxiety that usually comes with this process. So it has been a pleasure for me to spend this time with you. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned some things, please like the video, please share it, and most importantly, please implement it in your life and encourage others to do the same. I look forward to seeing you again next week when we're going to talk about the fourth principle that we can use to make sure that we use our money in a way that increases our happiness. And I just want to say that I love this time that we get to spend together. So thank you for being a part of this community. And don't forget to sign on to the Facebook group. I'd love to see you there and connect with you. So in the meanwhile, I am wishing you a lifetime that is filled with meaning, purpose, and joy. Have a great day.